Hey guys, welcome to Jason Unleashed. How's it going? I'm your host, Jason Carter. Always good to see you guys, and thank you so much for watching. Happy Friday. Yes, today's show is super cool. We have Ronnie Wu. I can't even talk blah, blah, blah. Ronnie is a celebrity chef, fitness expert, and just all around cool guy. You've seen him on Rachel Ray, The Today Show, Good Morning America. He's just bomb. Really cool guy. Met him on a show called Food to Get You Laid 5 years ago, and he's just wonderful. Let's bring him into the show. It's Ronnie Wu. Hold on. I gotta find him. Let's see. Hold on. Okay, wait. Technology, you guys. Bam. All right, we're going live with Ronnie right now. Questions down below, you can leave them. Say hi to Ronnie. I'll try to get to them. We'll try to get to the shout outs below too. But yeah, guy is amazing. And ladies and gentlemen, it's Ronnie Wu.
What's up, Jason?
Ronnie, welcome to the show. How you doing, man?
Good. Oh my gosh. Sorry for being a little bit late. My hair is a hot mess.
Your hair could never be a hot mess. Dude, your hair is a hot mess. Ronnie, look at this.
No, your hair looks good.
I hate it. I hate it, brother.
It
hate
looks
it.
Good.
Same. How you doing, man?
I'm good. Just trying to keep it together.
Same, brother. How's life in quarantine? How are you staying busy?
Oh my gosh. Well, I will say at first it was really tough, but I'm kind of getting the hang of it a little bit. Just staying busy through. Well, I feel like I spend most of my day trying to work out. I don't know if do you have a problem with working out at home? It's very difficult. And running out in the wild.
Right. Ronnie, I stopped trying to work out at home.
Oh, you look good though.
Well, black don't crack.
I know, seriously, black don't crack. Nothing happens to you guys. You guys literally just stay looking good.
No, that is not true. Trust me. Ronnie, the way I've been eating has been criminal. If like you saw, me and Munchkin have gone through like a whole 2 bags of chocolate chip cookies.
Munchkin. How's Munchkin doing?
He's doing really good. Busy working from home. But
good.
Ronnie, bro, first of all, congratulations on everything. I mean, you have been killing it. I was saying in the intro that we met 5-6 years ago on Food to Get You Laid.
Yeah, it was 2015. 15. Oh my God, I don't even know what year it is.
Yeah.
And
it's been a while, and your career has just taken off. Let's talk about craving jet lag, because earlier this year you spent how long you were in Africa, Nambia in Africa, and you immersed yourself.
Yeah.
You immerse yourself in the culture and the food, and beyond that, just live the life. And it was so awesome to watch, because not only were you authentically Ronnie Wu, which is always a joy to watch, but just cooking and experiencing the flavors and the cuisine of wherever you're at. That was also interesting. Tell us about that, because that's a huge undertaking.
Yeah, it was actually a huge undertaking. And I was there for 2 weeks. We're kind of like 3 days at different places. Honestly, it seems like a big blur at this point. I mean, it was only we shot that in July, and I mean, at this point, it seems like so far away and so long ago, and also I can't even imagine obviously doing that now during this time. But it was a lot of work. It was a lot of fun. I mean, it's definitely a trip that was very different than my normal trips, because I do like to take beach vacations or really foodie centric trips. And I will say Namibia, Africa is not exactly a foodie centric place, but it is definitely a scenic centric place. I mean, there's so much beautiful stuff to see. And it's really it's 100% off the grid. Not very many people know about Namibia. And it's not where you would choose to go to a safari, but we just really wanted something that was again, off the grid. And so, the food there is definitely very different. Even their main protein is very different as well. But it was a really cool experience, and I'm really glad I got to do it. And especially now, given everything that's going on, I feel very blessed that I was able to do it and get that sort of under my belt before all this. Because even now, I don't even know what travel looks like. Especially internationally, domestic, I know it might be a little bit more doable, but internationally, I'm like, how will that even work? At any given time, we could be trapped across the ocean,
Yeah,
so.
It's scary. One of the viewers who's a huge fan of yours, Cooking with Sam, she loves you. Everyone was so excited you were coming on today. She wanted to know, would you ever go back? What other parts of Africa would you want to go to? And what were some of your favorite dishes that you cooked? Because you had oxtail, I think, and then you had a stew called pat, I think, or pop. Sorry, pop.
Yeah.
I look, I am such a picky eater, Ronnie, that half the stuff you made, I would be like, I'm just gonna starve. Thank you very much, because I don't have it in me. I just can't do it.
Yeah, I mean, I have a pretty strong ironclad stomach, and honestly, the food wasn't like. Obviously, we stayed at like these like luxury tents, so it's like it was a lot of the food was sort of catered and tailored to Western culture. But I really wanted to sort of like when I met with each chef that worked at the tent, it was very much like they were locals, you know. So it's not like they were like they were like well, not farm raised, they were like, you know, homebred, home raised. So like um and like pop is really just like their version of polenta. It's a little bit more bland simply because they don't put cheese and whole heavy cream and all that delicious dairy product in it, because dairy is hard to come by over there. You know, cattle is very, very like, you know, cattle to them is like money. So like they're very valuable. And so like pop is just like ground corn, and corn is easy to come by. So it's just a version of polenta or grits. Oxtail is very common, you know, that's even in Western culture, Asian culture. My mom makes oxtail. So that's like, but you know, the coolest part about the food portion is that like when you break everything down, like so much of our food and the things we eat are very similar. Yeah. You know, like obviously in Western culture, we add a lot of dairy and cheeses and, you know, delicious. And seasoning, like Old Bay. A lot of seasoning and sort of like, you know, chemically stuff, which I'm not opposed to. I love everything and anything. But it's when you boil it down, like we eat a lot of the same things, you know, like corn and like proteins are very similar. You know, you know, the type of protein. Oh my gosh, I'm like totally blanking right now. I can't think of the protein that we ate, but it's like a type of antelope. I totally forgot what it was called.
It was,
Oryx. It was called Oryx.
Right.
Sorry,
Ronnie. I was gonna say Eeyore. What am I thinking? Eeyore? What is this? Woody the Pooh?
Yeah, I think some countries eat Eeyore, like donkey meat. Hey, it trust me. It was like there were like, and like some of the locals were like teaching me words, and I was like, for some reason, I have a hard time like literally repeating. There's this one thing where someone was saying like odengu, which is like a type of dish they're making. I was like oduru, and then I think they were like fucking with me, and they were like they were just saying different words, and I was like, that is not what you said. Like the last, anyway, it's a little convoluted, but basically the point is like the food is actually like not as far-fetched as you think it is. It's just it just might be a little bit different or prepared differently, but it's honestly, we all kind of eat the same thing. Like everyone in the world kind of different things. So
Ronnie, you have been able, which has been really cool, and shout out to Lounging with Tony. He's a fan as well. Tony, we love the Ritz as well. Ronnie, you have been able to really fuse not only your love of cooking across so many great outlets. Like I said, Rachel Ray, the Today Show. I mean, the Fab Life. I mean, that's just to name a few. You've been on so many great outlets, and one of the things that's so cool about you is that you have been able to fuse some really great culinary moments with fitness, and I love that because I mean, right? If I don't see Ronnie Wu shirtless on TV cooking an empanada, then it's not a real Ronnie Wu moment. You know what I mean? But,
oh my God, I love that. I mean, it's funny because, you know, it's funny because I think about this, you know, I'm like, God, and sometimes am I too sort of like comfortable with my body or whatnot? And I realize like I've just always grown up very comfortable with my body. Like with my family and everything, like we grew up all very comfortable with our body, you know, and maybe my family is probably a little too like, you know, we tend to be a little critical of each other. Almost like our family is almost like maybe an Italian family where it's just very vocal and like they're all constantly like, criticizing each other, but in like a loving way. And so I've just always been very comfortable in my body. I've been modeling since I was like 15. And so like being, you know, shirtless or even like almost naked or nude isn't a big deal to me. But you know, in the culinary world, it's a little bit like quote unquote shocking. You know, I will say like sometimes, you know, I wonder, I'm like, am I being too like gratuitous? And I'm just like, you know, I'm just very comfortable with it. You know, like when I think the human body is like a beautiful thing, and it's nothing to be ashamed of. And some people are like kind of weird about it. And so I was like, when it comes to fusing food and fitness, I think like being able to sort of be proud of what you've worked for, because I worked very hard to be semi-decent shape, and it's just like...
What? Stop.
I mean, I have my moments, but I mean like, you know, it's just, there's no, like you work hard for it. And I eat right, but I also indulge and I enjoy life. So I think for me, it's kind of like, I think some people are really strict about what they eat to stay in shape, and some people like don't care at all. And I just want to be like, there's a balance to it, and that's sort of what I would like to sort of be like. You can eat this and still feel good. You can look good, and you don't have to feel deprived or anything like that. And that's sort of what my big sort of underlying message is. I'm not very preachy, but it's just more like I practice what everything you see is what I do practice it, and people are always like, do you actually eat that? I'm like, I do actually eat it, barring that I'm going to film myself eating it from start to finish. Like I actually do eat it. And, but I'm not eating like that all the time.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it's all in moderation. I think it's even less about moderation. It's more about just balance and
Sure.
about enjoying life, because ultimately we're all gonna perish one day, which sounds so philosophical. We're all gonna perish.
Thank you, Oprah.
Oh my God, I love Oprah. I was just talking about Oprah. I was like, God, I would die to meet her. Like, she's like the one person I have not actually like met, and I'm like, I know so many people that work with her. I'm like, why haven't I made this happen? Because I mean, like, Oprah's, God's wife. God, she could be God.
You said that balance, moderation.
Right.
Looking from your social media and from knowing you, I mean, it comes across. You said you don't want to be preachy. I don't think it's preachy at all, because I think people now more than ever, I know myself, I correlate food with fitness, and it's a struggle. It absolutely is, because especially now we're quarantined, we're emotionally eating, we're stressed out. Food's very comforting, and none of the things that you should be eating are comforting. Everything you shouldn't be eating are the most comforting.
100%.
So for real, I mean, preach it.
Yeah.
It's definitely a balance. But you also have this aesthetic when it comes to how you do things. I mean, there's a lot of cooking shows. There's cooking competitions. You name it. It goes on and on and on. But what I love about you, Ronnie, is that you find a way to make it fun.
Thank you.
Did cooking become something that you knew was your passion? Because you're highly educated. You have a master's degree.
Yeah, I have two master's degrees.
Yeah, and it's like, I think psychology, yes?
Yeah, so I have two master's degrees, one in psychology or marriage and family therapy, and one my MBA, so business administration. Yeah.
So you have this very formal education that kind of lends itself to a very rigorous and strict type of lifestyle if you choose to go in that profession. When did you decide, though, that food was going to be your life? That food was it? That there's nothing else to it that makes me feel good but food?
Yeah. So my family loves food. Like, we grew up in a foodie centric family. Like, everywhere we traveled to was just based around like food. And my parents and obviously can't travel right now at this very moment, but generally travel is based around what kind of delicious food can we find in the location. And so, that was sort of always underlying my whole entire life. Obviously, coming from an Asian family, people are like, my mom expected me to become a lawyer or a doctor. That just was something that never interested me. And I think for like the Asian culture, it's sort of a title thing. Like, people love having that title. And for me, I tried that route. I actually did pre-med. I actually was like, if I'm going to be a doctor or lawyer, I would choose doctor just because it sounds a little more interesting. Like, legal stuff, like, boggles my mind. Like, like, you have to be like so smart, and I'm just like, I don't think I can do that. Whereas, like, a doctor, I'm like, well, at least there's like science involved and like bodily functions, which I'm like, okay, maybe I know a little bit. But no, you have to be super smart for both professions. But I did pre-med, and then I was like, okay, well, I want to help people. That was my first thing. So I was like, if I do psychology, I can at least help people. And I have an interest in like relationships, and I was just like, always had a very like a very strong curiosity, and I just love to learn about people's relationships. Like, when I talk to people and friends and stuff, like, I love to learn about what makes a relationship work or doesn't work. And so I always wanted to be a relationships columnist, and I thought it would be like, I go to school and become a relationships columnist, and then all of a sudden I'm done, and I'm just writing for all the magazines, and it's just not how it works. And so, during my time in school, I had to do an internship, and I did an internship at an AIDS and health clinic, I did it on purpose because it was just very intense. Like, the topics are really intense. There's sex addiction, there's, HIV, AIDS infection. Like, it was everything across the board. And I deliberately did that because I didn't want to deal with like, all mental issues are really important, but this one it's just intense. It's a different level. And so, during that time, I realized I'm not a very good therapist because I'm a little too like enthusiastic, and I just have a hard time not cutting, but keeping like professionalism from friendship, because I just think that like that's a skill you have to have, and that's hard for me.
Yeah.
So I think I was a good enough therapist to know that I wouldn't be a good one, and then I actually was like, what do I really want to do? And I just realized I love food. And that was around the same time I met my now husband, who I've been with for 12 years. And that is where we were dating long distance. And I just started, you know, cooking for him every time he would come down and see me in LA, because he was in San Francisco, I was in LA, and we did that for like 6 months. And that's when I developed this love for cooking. And then I realized that this could really be an actual career. And so by this time I get sometimes the chronological order of things mixed up. But I was like, even then though, I was kind of like, do I really want to do food or not? So I still went back to school, got my 2 masters, and that's when I realized, like, you know, this is like what I want to do. Yeah. And so I just started my business, The Delicious Cook, which is a private chef company. And basically, I was very lucky, because basically the day that I launched it, I got my first inquiry and I got my first client, and that didn't go very well. It was the dinner. I was like, oh, it's easy. Like, cooking is so easy. And I was so naive. I was so young. I was like, you know, how old was I? I was like 23, 22, you know? And I was like, oh, it's so easy to do this. And it's not. It's very difficult. Yeah. And so after that first event, I kind of honed my skills, and I started getting better and better and better. And then that's sort of where it took off. And then I, you know, got into TV. Then I booked Food to Get You Laid in 2015. And so that's sort of how it all went, how it all started happening.
But isn't it cool, like, just you telling the story? And I know everyone I've talked to, I mean, I've been doing a lot of interviews in the last month with people and talking with them about.
Yeah, you're killing it. You're killing
Thank you.
It,
Thank you.
You are, like, you say I'm killing it, like, you're killing it. I always talk about how, like, because, like, you were one of the first people on my show, and I was like, Jason's doing what he loves. I'm like, this is exactly what he's been wanting to do. He's on ET Live, and he's just doing what he loves.
Aw, so thanks, Ronnie.
I'm so proud of you.
I'm proud of you too, brother. And it's just cool to see you, like, you know, you took a risk, really. You said, you know, the safe route. Jennifer Lopez always said, or not always, but she had this quote about, you know, like, I didn't have a plan B, I had a plan A. And I was going to put you, and you took a risk and said, this is what I'm going to do. And then things lined up. And I think it's just so cool to hear those kind of testimonies from people who are like, this is what I love to do, because you could have easily gone the route of that was culturally demanded from you, or in a way, been a doctor, been a lawyer, but you said, let me listen.
I don't know, though. I'm not that smart. That's the thing. Like, I could have gone that route, but I don't know if I have the brain capacity. I'm more of a creative person versus, like, you know,
right.
Dot the I across the T's, you know?
Yeah, but you leaned into your passion, and the universe or whoever said, okay, let me open these doors for you and have one thing line up, and it has. And going back to the Ronnie Wu aesthetic and the Ronnie Wu signature, because every chef has one, you have a way you approach cooking, and you have a way, and it's so awesome to see how creativity is infused in that, and emotion, because doing Food to get you laid with you, I saw how you, like, you're so focused and how you're detail oriented. What would you say is the Ronnie Wu science to cooking? Like, how do you approach cooking now, and how has that evolved? Because it's not easy to cook. I can't cook. Like, I try. I'm the dude that goes to Costco and buys a lasagna and puts it in the oven and says,
nothing
bam,
wrong with that. Oh my God, you're making your life much easier, because if you know how to cook, you're basically spending all your time cooking.
Right.
So I'm like, you get it. Like, get that lasagna, put it in the oven, and get dinner ready
Done.
in 15 minutes. Like, I applaud you. Like, I would love to do that. But then I'm like, oh man, like, I could spend like the same money making it, knowing what goes into it. And I'm just like, blah, blah, blah. Like, it's almost a curse, to be honest with you. But I would say that it's funny, because whenever I'm on, like, Rachel Ray, because I'm on that show a lot, and I always just joke with her. I'm always like, I feel like my philosophy is, this is going to sound horrible, but my philosophy is I don't care. Meaning, like, it's really like, people get really, like, sticklers about technique and all that stuff. And, like, I know technique, and I know how to do technique, and I know how to cook in a technical way. But sometimes, like, you don't need to do that to get a good meal on the table or to get flavor. There's other ways of doing it. So you know, like on our show, I'll show like a lot of sort of like just dump recipes, which is just like throw things onto a tray and bake it, or like make it easier. You know, if you mess something up, you know, just the last time I did, I was like, there's this dessert that I made that's like, it was a pot de creme, and people have to like, it's, this might be speaking totally different language to you, but like, because you don't love, you know, you're not like you don't like cooking, but
Go for it.
for the people that like cooking, like, you know, if you make like a creme anglaise, which is basically heavy cream, egg yolks, and some sugar, essentially, you're making like a nice thick cream, which you can make ice cream out of it. But the key is to not curdle it, because when you like don't temper egg yolks with hot heavy cream, you tend to get like curdles, and the goal is to not curdle it. And I just tell people, I'm like, just dump it in the pot, cook it until it's cooked, and then pop it into a blender and blend it smooth, and you have creme anglaise. And that's like things like that. So for me, it's always like, when I first started cooking, I was like, how do I fix this? You know, like if I'm at a client's event, a client house, and I'm doing something and I mess up, I need to have a way to fix it. Because like if I only have a limited set of ingredients, I have to make it work. But I can't serve shitty food. Yeah. So it's like, how do you fix this? So for me, there's always a fix. There's always a way to make it delicious. And there's always an easier, cleaner way of doing it. So I guess to answer your question about my signature, it's really just like it's okay to mess up, and there's always a fix, if that makes sense. I'm just not super technical, you know?
Well, I think that's why you're so great when you're on Rachel, is because I think you guys share the same philosophies in a lot of ways when it comes to cooking. Just like, let's just get this done. And you know, I hate watching cooking shows and just hearing like, you know, like MasterChef, and then just the verbiage and the whole snootiness of we're plating the blah 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 blah. It's just,
I know,
like,
it's so annoying. Yeah, it's so annoying.
It's like, is it really that intense? You know, like it's donuts, bro. Like, let's keep it pushing. You know,
agreed.
But I mean, again, people want that relatability. They want, especially when you're starting out to cook. You know, Selena Gomez has a cooking show coming out on HBO Max where she's not a cook. And she's always had a passion for cooking. And there's something to be said about the accessibility and relatability of cooking, because we have to eat. People love to eat. Yeah. And the fear of getting it wrong is what stops. But that's for me is what has stopped me from becoming a better cook. And now that I'm in quarantine, I have time to cook. I'm experimenting a little bit more. But if you had, Ronnie, and this is, I always want to ask you this. If you have what is your favorite thing to make? And I know you probably get asked that a lot. And why though? And why? And what are you not good at making?
So I would say my favorite thing to make, I don't have a favorite thing to make. That's what I always say. I love everything. But lately in quarantine, what I've been doing, I will say just from recent memory, what I've been doing is buying just whole chickens and roasting it, and then eating the chicken like a barbarian with my hands. Like literally what I do. I will rip it apart. I'm speaking barbaric.
Love it. So sexy.
And yeah, right. And then I save the bones and I make a stock the next day. And I just like throw in carrots, onions, like ginger, turmeric, just so it's like a healthy immunity building stock. Because, you know, I like to pretend that I'm a health guru, but I'm not. But I just do it so I don't waste any animal parts. And I just like to, you know, make as much as I can from food, just because, I mean, I'm not like super zen-y or like preachy, but like an animal died, I want to utilize all of it.
Yeah.
Utilize it. And so that's sort of what I've been doing lately. The thing I hate cooking the most, but I love eating it. Like the other day I made burgers, but I don't like making them on the grill. I like to make them on the stovetop, because that's how like an In-N-Out or Shake Shack makes it. Yeah. That's how you get the nice crust and the caramelization. Sometimes I get too in the weeds of like talking about cooking, where I'm like caramelization and stuff. But basically, it's very messy. Like, have you ever made burgers on the stove?
Grease everywhere. It's Ronnie, and it smells. Last night I made tacos. Last night.
Oh, good for you. How was it?
But epic. But afterwards, though, the grease, it just smells like a vat of grease. It's just nasty. Yes. I feel you.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to the smell. I'm just opposed to the fact that your whole kitchen gets covered in a layer, like a sprinkling of grease, and that drives me bananas. Like, so I'll spend basically like an hour cleaning the kitchen because I'm a total neat freak, and so that's the thing I hate cooking the least. And what I'm not good at cooking, and I'm good at cooking that, but to answer your initial question, what I don't like cooking actually, what am I not good at cooking? I'm like, I can't think of anything. I'm not going to toot my own horn. I'm pretty good at most things, but,
Toot toot.
I mean, like, yes, toot toot. What am I not good at cooking? Honestly, I can't think of anything.
Okay, well, fine. I'll do one better. You're great at Ronnie, you're a cooking god. Thank you very much. But what don't you like eating? Because you have to. I mean, look, just be like I don't like any kind of white condiments, and that's just the bare. That's like basic bitch shit. But
Right.
like as far as food,
I
like
love
what
so we had this
what
conversation
will
that
you
don't
not
like white
eat?
condiments.
Like
I will tell you, I pretty much love everything. I honestly love everything. But the one thing I just discovered this over quarantine. The one thing I absolutely 100% hate is fake meat. No joke. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. It makes me barf. I hate it. It tastes so gross. So I was at Whole Foods the other day. No joke. And I don't know what I was thinking. And I saw, this was like when quarantine started. So not the other day. It was like a few weeks ago. When quarantine started, I saw like these like two like cool hip looking people. I was like, God, I sound like a grandmother. But they just grabbed like this bunch of meat from the fridge section. And I was like, oh, what is that? Because it was when quarantine first started, everything was like barren.
right.
So it's like, okay, so I saw it and it said Beyond Meat. And I was like, oh, like I've heard about this. And I know the stock is really high and like it's been doing really well. So I just grabbed like 3 packs. And I was like, okay, this is great. And it looks like real meat inside the packaging and everything. And so I brought it home and I was like, can't wait to try this. I made one batch and it was okay. Not any, I don't want to name the